Good YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, undefeated, unified WBC, IBF, welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, who is widely considered by many to be top 3 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, ERROL "The Truth" Spence Jr. 27 wins, no losses, no draws, 21 big wins by way of knockout, 31 years of age, 5'9.5", with a 72-inch arm reach. He will be going into a highly anticipated unification bout with Cuban star boxer who is currently the WBA, World Boxing Association's welterweight champion. He's the super champion at welterweight, Yordenis Ugas. Yordenis Ugas is 27 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 12 wins by way of knockout, 35 years of age, 5'9.5", with a 69-inch arm reach. Looks like that fight is going to be taking place April 16th, and it's possible that it could be taking place in Dallas, Texas, at AT&T Stadium, Dallas Cowboy Stadium. With that said, there's another situation that has been brewing and growing legs and gaining traction, and that's the biggest rival to ERROL Spence Jr., that's undefeated, 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the WBO reigning welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and that is Terence "Bud" Crawford. 38 wins, no losses, no draws, 29 big wins by way of knockout, 34 years of age, 5'8", with a 74-inch arm reach. Extremely long arms for a guy that's 5'8". With that said, Terence Crawford is going to court with his longtime promoter, whom he parted ways with now, legendary promoter, Top Rank CEO Bob ARUM, and Top Rank, as he's citing that they could have, pushed for the fight for Terence Crawford to face ERROL Spence, and they promised Terence Crawford that they would, negotiate a fight for Terence Crawford to face off against ERROL Spence after his fight with Egas Kavaliauskas. So Terence Crawford is stating that Egas Kavaliauskas was a situation. First of all, Egas Kavaliauskas was his mandatory, and Egas Kavaliauskas was a fight that Terence Crawford is claiming in his report that he agreed to this fight with Top Rank to help Top Rank satisfy their agreements with ESPN and look for an extension with ESPN. Okay, so Terence Crawford, he fought Egas Kavaliauskas back in December of 2019, and he stated that in the contract, that contract stated that, and after Egas Kavaliauskas, he was supposed to be getting the ERROL Spence fight, and that Top Rank and Bob ARUM was going to begin negotiations for the ERROL Spence fight, which would have also saw Terence Crawford make $5.4 million guaranteed up front. Now, how did that come about? Because Terence Crawford was scheduled to make a $4.5 million base for the fight with ERROL Spence, and then a $900,000 bonus. Okay, so that would bring Terence Crawford to $5.4 million. Not to mention, Terence Crawford obviously would have been able to receive pay-per-view money because it's the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. Pay-per-view money on the back end, gate split, revenue share, and things of that nature. So Terence Crawford is actually taking Top Rank to court, and he's citing that he's looking to get $10 million at least in return. So maybe he would have made, maybe the $10 million is total, or maybe the $10 million, for the ERROL Spence fight, or maybe it's $10 million overall, for other fights included. But we know he would have made $5.4 million guaranteed up front. So with that said, Terence Crawford essentially is indirectly stating that it wasn't ERROL Spence's fault for this fight not coming to fruition. It came at the hands of Bob ARUM and Top Rank. Well, ERROL Spence, he finally responds. There was a video surfacing of ERROL Spence, when Terence Crawford, he fought against Amir Khan, and Terence Crawford beat Amir Khan, and ERROL Spence was telling the world, that, again, Terence Crawford wasn't being treated fairly, and that they were mentioning the name of 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 3-division world champion, former unified lightweight world champion, Ukrainian superstar boxer Vasyl Lomachenko's name more than they were mentioning Terence Crawford's name. Okay, now Vasyl Lomachenko, yes, he's a big deal. He's a talented fighter, but Lomachenko only has combined, 18 fights in total. He's 16 wins, 2 losses, no draws, 11 wins by way of knockout. Now, this is when Terence Crawford fought against Amir Khan. So at that time, Lomachenko had 1 loss on his resume, but Lomachenko, didn't have this many fights at that time. Okay, so he had a loss to Orlando Salido, who was a journeyman back then. So with that said, ERROL SPENCE saying that they were making mention of Lomachenko name in a promotion for Terence Crawford and Amir Khan more than they was mentioning Terence Crawford name. Okay, and so ERROL SPENCE is saying it wasn't right, and he was sending a warning to Terence Crawford that Terence Crawford needs to exit stage left. Okay, he stated that Terence Crawford needs to be promoted better. Terence Crawford is one of the better fighters in the sport of boxing. And then Terence Crawford needs to be treated more fair than how and what he's being treated. Okay, but nonetheless, Terence Crawford, he re-signed with Top Rank. He re-signed with Bob Arum. Okay, and so ERROL SPENCE is saying that he should have been a much bigger star. This is the sentiments that many people uttered. You have the likes of Floyd Mayweather saying Terence Crawford should be a much bigger star than what he is. Okay, a pay-per-view star, and Floyd Mayweather said, I gave Terence Crawford the blueprint and he didn't follow it, and he knew what the issues lies ahead when you're dealing with Top Rank, because I'm an example. So Floyd Mayweather attests that he's a much bigger star. He should be a much bigger star. And ERROL SPENCE was vouching for Terence Crawford, saying he's a great fighter, he's talented, and that Terence Crawford needs to be, away from, Bob Arum. And now that led to Terence Crawford ultimately attempting to secure a fight with legendary 8-division world champion, iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny "Pac-Man" Pacquiao. It was being mentioned since the better part of 2014, 2015, all the way up until 2021, June 5th of 2021. Terence Crawford was supposed to face off against Manny Pacquiao. He'd been seeking out that fight. That was his number one objective. But the fight eluded him because simply Bob Arum, he let the world know, I blocked the fight from coming to fruition. Then Bob Arum, he stated that, it was a investment group in Abu Dhabi that was willing to put up the money for Terence Crawford and Manny Pacquiao, but they fell out when the investment group backed out. He stated that Top Rank and Bob Arum and ESPN, they could have put up the money, but they didn't see that they would get a return on the investment. They didn't see the value in investing in Terence Crawford versus Manny Pacquiao. And so Bob Arum stated that they were going to go in a different direction, plain and simple. Okay. And so with that said, that was supposed to be June 5th. Then shockingly, we get a report a few weeks later that Manny Pacquiao is going to face ERROL SPENCE August 21st, okay, in Las Vegas, Nevada at the T-Mobile Arena. And ERROL SPENCE, he tweeted out, blame Bob, right? And ERROL SPENCE hadn't been trying to secure a fight and pursuing a fight with Manny Pacquiao as much as Terence Crawford had been trying to pursue a fight with Manny Pacquiao. So he stated, blame Bob. Okay, Bob Arum is the reason now I'm getting this fight. He was under the same promotional banner. Manny Pacquiao at one point in time was under Top Rank with Terence Crawford, and still Terence Crawford couldn't land the fight. And so, for all this time, he had been trying to secure a fight all the way leading up into his fight with Kell Brook, November 14th for 2020. Terence Crawford did a sit down with retired Hall of Fame, legendary, iconic Olympic gold medalist, superstar boxer, 2-division world champion, Andre SOG Ward. Okay, and when he sat down with Andre SOG Ward, he stated that, Andre Ward asked Terence Crawford, what's your main objective? And he said Manny Pacquiao. Okay, that was just 2020. That was his number one objective, was to secure a fight with Manny Pacquiao. Okay, and so with that said, it still didn't come to fruition, but this was his number one objective. And now ERROL SPENCE lands the fight. Now, ERROL SPENCE didn't get the opportunity to fulfill the fight because ERROL SPENCE, he suffered a broken detached retina that saw him have to be replaced and removed from the fight. Okay, and so with that said, ERROL SPENCE was going to get the fight with Manny Pacquiao. Yordenis Ugas ended up fighting Manny Pacquiao, and he beat Manny Pacquiao unanimous decision after ERROL SPENCE had to be removed. But ERROL SPENCE, he said, you got to blame Bob. I'm able to get the fight. Why weren't you? And so now that Terence Crawford is taking top-ranked Bob Arum to court and citing that they were supposed to make the fight with him and ERROL Spence, and now he's dealing with issues with Top Rank, and it could prolong his career and things of that nature. Well, ERROL Spence finally responds to it. Somebody sends ERROL Spence the video of him saying this. What about during the Amir Khan fight and the build up and how he was being mistreated, that being Terence Crawford, and ERROL Spence said, that's not me. It wouldn't have been me. Tried to warn him essentially. So hopefully now we could actually get the fight. And the fight comes to fruition. It looks like ERROL Spence is after his fight with Yordenis Ugas. The reports are he's going to pursue a fight with Terence Crawford full steam ahead and make that fight happen for Undisputed. Terence Crawford, his team stated that that's the fight that they want. So let's see how this all plays out moving forward. But now Terence Crawford is a promotional network free agent. And you got the PBC. You have Floyd Mayweather campaigning for Terence Crawford to sign over there. Yordenis Ugas even went on record saying that Terence Crawford needs to sign over there. That's where Terence Crawford needs to be with the Premier Boxing Champions and promote his career. So let's see how this unfolds moving forward. But ERROL Spence, he responds, he said, tried to warn him, that wouldn't have been me. So let's see how this plays out moving forward. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.
You're watching Blue Blood Sports TV. Wow.